Welcome to the Animation Station Podcast, your home for discussions and debates about all things animation. Each week, we'll rank, review, and revel in animated shows from yesterday and today, and from around the world. So grab your Acme slingshot, set your mobile suit to autopilot, and put on your mouse ears. The Animation Station Podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Animation Station Podcast, episode 65. My name is Josh.
My name is Gavin.
And I'm Corey.
And today we're going to be reviewing Disney and Tim Burton's Frankenweenie.
You didn't do it right.
Yep.
How do you
Yeah,
Disney?
you usually do Disney different. Is it too early to go
Did
that
you get
high?
too close to an aneurysm last time? So you're not...
Oh, yeah. I mean, the blood was rushing to my head when I did it. Disney!
There it
you
is.
go.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts so much.
We're recording early today. You guys awake enough for this?
Yeah,
You ready?
anybody got any news?
I do. Let me see if I can pull it up while I'm talking. Ardboiled, which I talked about a few episodes ago, which is the new YouTube station or channel. Are they called channels or stations on
channel.
YouTube? I'm fairly new to YouTube consumption as far as subscribing to channels. But they have their new channel up and running with lots of interesting little animated web series on there. So lots of stop motion, lots of little cute little shorts. They're going for comedy, so everything on there is really hilarious. I'm going to see if I can pull it up here and see how many subscribers they have so far. But I've started watching some of it. Really entertaining. I totally recommend checking them out. Yeah, they're off and running, so go check them out.
Got anything, Corey?
I did, but I forgot it.
All right. That's good to know.
Good job, Corey. You're doing a great job.
No, I thought I saved it on my phone on Wednesday whenever I saw it, but it wasn't anything major.
The final season of Star Wars Rebels premiered last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So,
And I haven't watched a single episode of that show.
I've watched about 5 minutes of it,
Yeah.
but yeah, mainly because Amazon. It's kind of weird.
What do you mean? Do
When
they
you
not-
buy season 1, you don't get the first episode.
Why do
Is
they
one
do
of those
crap like
things.
that?
I hate
that.
it.
They did that with was it Gravity? Gravity Falls?
No.
What one?
They did it with a Lion Guard.
Oh, Lion Guard.
Yeah,
there
you had
was
to
one
buy
that
them.
you
You had to
bought
buy the
where-
movie.
Yeah, that's lame.
We also got a new promo for Star vs. the Forces of Evil, which means Eclipse is going to be pretty heavily in this, which is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks good.
We also got from Big Hero 6 and Disney XD.
Nice.
There's going to be a new series event called Finding Baymax on Monday, November 20th. And then
Interesting.
after that, probably a week later, so then we'll have the actual series.
Okay.
So this will be like a movie event,
Mm-hmm.
just like Lion Guard, just like
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebels.
How do you guys feel about that method of release? Does that work for you guys? Like, does that get you more excited, less excited?
I'm not a fan of it. I mean,
I'm kind of not
like
either.
if you're gonna do that, just kind of do what Star vs. Forces of Evil did this last, like for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Have the first 4 episodes as a movie event,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still just episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right, where it's like a mini marathon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you automatically get those when you buy season 3. You get
Yeah.
episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I don't really get it because I feel like they're putting, when they do that, sometimes they put too much focus on, okay, we need to make this like a movie, and then it goes into the show and it kind of sometimes has a different feel.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, now we kind of have to start over because that was its own story arc, and now we got to start a new one. I don't know. I guess I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to TV.
I feel like they haven't really found a good way to make it work yet.
Mm-hmm. I think if you got something big, like highly anticipated, maybe do it. But it seems like they do it every time now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the fence, really.
And Gavin, one of your pieces from D23 went up for the auction on the Pocketeers for their
Yes.
cancer relief.
That's correct. They are assembling Team Boat Willie once again. If you don't know what that is, if you don't follow Podcateers, follow them. They're awesome. But they also have created a charity team, and they participate in charity events. So the current one that they're doing is the think it's for City of Hope, and it's the Walk for Hope, and it's to benefit cancer research, specifically for women's cancers. And they're doing a big walk, and you can sponsor them, you can donate to their cause. And they did an auction this last week of some art pieces from various artists, and including 2 incredible photographs from Hazen, who's an amazing photographer. But yeah, those all went up. The auction's over now, but you can definitely still support them, support their cause. They're all super positive people trying to make the world a better place. So definitely go check them out. Podcateers.com.
Nice.
All right. So for the main topic today, we watched Disney and Tim Burton's 2012 stop motion 3D animated. My gosh, there's so many
Lots
things
of
now.
descriptors.
I just call it
Black and white.
animated film. He's not really a weenie dog. That's first off, it's Frankenweenie. First off, he's not a dachshund.
Yeah, and I don't think he is in the original film either. I don't know. I don't know
No,
why
I went with
it's called that.
Frankenweenie.
Yeah,
just seems weird.
yeah.
But
Franken
Frankenweenie.
dog.
Franken puppy.
Yeah.
So, a little brief explanation of the film. After unexpectedly losing his beloved dog Sparky, young Victor harnesses the power of science to bring his best friend back to life. With just a few minor adjustments, he tries to hide his home-sewn creation, but when Sparky gets out, Victor's fellow students, teachers, and the entire town learn that getting a new leash on life can be monstrous.
Puns in the synopsis. I like it.
Alrighty, Gavin, I'm sure you have some sort of wonderfulness about this movie.
No, I want to know what you guys think about it first.
Oh, wow, we're just going to start
We're just
off
gonna
strong.
jump in.
Corey!
All right. This is the 3rd stop motion movie that we've had this month.
That is correct.
This would be my favorite style of the stop motion that I've seen.
And I'm surprised by that. Like I don't know why, but when I watched it, this is a weird week because we all watched this movie separately. None of us were together when we watched it, and that's unusual. But when I was watching it on, I think, Wednesday, I was thinking the whole time, oh my gosh, this is bad. Like Josh and Corey, I cannot see them liking this. So I'm glad to know that this was your favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
That may not be saying much, though. Continue.
For the style. I didn't realize this was black and white. So that hurt everything.
So why does that hurt? Like, talk about why that's a problem.
It's been less of an appeal in my entire life than stop motion ever has been. There's only one movie I've ever enjoyed that was black and white, and that was Young Frankenstein.
So not even a movie from the actual black and white era,
No.
just a
Yeah,
stylistic choice.
Just stylistic
Which this
choice.
this is as well, and in many ways it's the same kind of movie as Dr. Frankenstein or Young Frankenstein because
Yeah.
it's a spoof basically.
Yeah, but for some reason, black and white just never appealed to me for cinema.
Josh, what do you feel about black and white in general? Do you
I'm
care
fine with
for
black and white movies.
Okay, cool.
I mean, that's what it was weird though when your wife was saying you guys don't seem like people who would like. I have like 20 black and white movies on my shelf.
You do?
Like I like black and white movies. Like in the era, I don't understand why you would do that now.
Yeah, I think it's a stylistic choice.
I
It's kind of a
get
throwback.
that, but it's one of my things where it's like why just. You can, mute the colors a little bit.
Yeah,
You don't have to
kinda
make
like
it.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
I guess. Was Corpse Bride black and white?
No, but that's
But it
another
was
good
muted.
Example.
Yeah, like if it's muted
It
like
only has
that and
bright
just have like
colors
a
when they're-
couple pops of something, that's fine. I don't see why you would like this movie if they would have done that with this and actually you would have seen like the electricity and everything and like the sparks flying and that was in color. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm not a fan of, it's 2017 and you're going to put, do like the pianist, It's like, I don't want to see that.
All right.
But that's just something I've never been a fan of.
We need to expose you to some quality black and white films.
I'm okay with at least watching it.
We'll
but-
watch
All
The
right.
Longest Day. It's
No.
the best war movie ever made.
Many of the greatest films ever made are in black and white.
But with some of the stuff I did like about this movie, I am honestly okay never watching it again
Yeah.
because I was sad the entire time.
Yeah. Now you're you're a dog person.
I'm a very big dog person.
You're a pet person.
Yeah.
Josh, you're a bit of a pet person too. You've had dogs. And...
Yeah, I wanted my dog when I was watching it. I wanted to drive to Moore and get her, and I was like, Scouty.
See, now I want you guys to expound on that a little bit because as somebody who's never owned a pet, I don't have that experience, so I can't relate to that. I mean, I can understand, oh, this is a sad thing. Yeah. I mean, I can, equate it to, oh, I lost something very valuable to me, but I've never bonded emotionally with an animal. So what is that like? I mean, would you equate it to more significant loss, like a family member? Yes. Really?
I was an only child growing up.
Oh, okay.
And I found my dog a stray. And he was about 1 year old. A year old. He died when he was 17.
Oh, so
I had him
grew up with that dog.
I had him for 16 years of my life.
Yeah.
So that was essentially a brother since I was an only child. Mm-hmm. Whenever he died, like I said, I got him cremated and I have his ashes on my ring.
That's full on.
Yeah. So, no, it was definitely more than just, oh, you just lost a goldfish.
Right. Yeah, so as you watch this movie, then it's bringing out all those emotions for you.
Yeah.
So just because that's difficult, it just
difficult for me.
It makes this not a repeater for you.
Pretty much.
Okay. But if we take that out of it,
then yeah, I'd watch it. I'd probably watch it again.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, going back to the film. I honestly was not a fan of the look of any of the characters, except maybe Elsa. I guess I kind of liked her hair. But all the other characters, they looked absolutely ugly, which is Tim Burton's style,
right?
To make ugly as sin characters, and it's every time I see anything Tim Burton, I'm just like, I don't like the aesthetic. It's one of the reasons I don't like Halloween, just because we get haphazard, just thrown together looking things.
Thrown together.
And it's not my thing.
I think it's very intentional. I don't think it's thrown together.
Yeah, intentionally garbage. But
I understand that you don't like the look of it. But what about the characters themselves, like as actual characters in the story?
I mean, I thought the story was fine. If you would have done different animation and not made them look the way they do, I probably would have been a better movie.
So are we just talking about the characters that are basically like monster references?
No, I'm talking about all of the characters.
Even like his parents and stuff like that?
I mean, they were fine. That creepy little blonde-haired girl.
With the eyes.
Yeah, it's like, no, get that out of here.
Yeah, she was so classically Tim Burton to me.
The what's-her-face dude. I mean, the teacher guy. Was like, get him out of here.
He was my favorite.
The big fat mayor guy, get him out of here.
Everyone,
I hated
get him out.
The dog when it was a zombie. Get that out.
Why? Because it was gross?
Yeah, it looked gross.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't like things that are gross.
So let's real life that. So your dog dies and you find that you can sew it back together and electrify it and bring it back to life. You wouldn't do it?
Nope.
You'd pass?
Yeah, I've seen The Walking Dead. That never works out.
Would you have sewn your dog together and brought it back to life if you could?
Probably tried.
Okay. Two different sides of the pet coin there. That's hilarious. Yeah, that was my biggest fear for you, Josh, because I know that you don't enjoy in general the Halloween aesthetic, and Tim Burton pushes the Halloween aesthetic, kind of harder than anybody else, I feel like, and this one was definitely no exception. And I feel like a lot of these characters reminded me of, I don't know if you guys have looked at much of Tim Burton's actual art, like all of his sketches and the character design work that he does going into movies like Nightmare Before Christmas and The Corpse Bride, like all of his little sketchy drawings that they turn into these three-dimensional plasticine or modeled characters. They all look like they all directly were leading up to this movie. And that's what I like about it, because I like Tim Burton and his aesthetic. I like that, he is kind of stuck in this one lane for the most part and really just carved out a niche for himself in cinematic history and a style. And this, is just a continuation of that. But I understand that this movie could be... It has a lot of obstacles, and I think we've named all of them already. It's black and white, which is an obvious obstacle for a lot of people. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. It makes sense that people, a lot of people are completely turned off by 3D. They're like, oh, I'm not going to watch that if it's in 3D. And some people are like, oh, I'm not going to watch it if it's in 2D. I'm going to go to the movie. I'm going to watch 3D, So there are choices that we all make when we go to see the movies. So there's that. And then there's it's a rough story. Especially if you are a pet person, it can be a really rough story. And then third of all, you got to like Tim Burton's style. Yeah. If you don't, you're not going to like it.
Which I do like his style. Yeah. And I love Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't find that to be a problem.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this movie is that in classic Tim Burton tradition, it also brings in Danny Elfman to do the music. Now, you're a big movie soundtrack guy. Yeah. What's your take on Danny Elfman, and what's your take on the music in this movie?
I thought it fit perfectly for it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I enjoyed every bit of it. It was emotional when it had to be. It was intense when it had to be. Overall, I thought this was a nice change from the last few movies that we've had. Mm-hmm. With this, I'm okay playing it at my house and just listening to it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Danny Elfman in general? Do you like his stuff?
Yes.
What's your favorite Danny Elfman soundtrack?
I can't nail it down to one.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Nightmare Before Christmas, man.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, though.
How long has it been since you listened to the soundtrack?
But last time I saw the movie, probably.
Okay, in about an hour from now, you need to listen to it again. Did you notice the music at all, Josh?
Nope.
No? The music in this, I agree. I think it was pretty perfect. I think it was a little tame for Elfman because he has a pretty distinct style as well. But I feel like it was pretty good. I'd put it middle of the road in Elfman soundtracks. I like several of his a lot better than this, but I thought it was good. That was pretty good. Okay, let's talk about the voice acting. I like some of the voice acting, but my actual biggest criticism in this movie is to do with voice acting. So I really, really hate the fact that Martin Short and Catherine O'Hara, two of the most distinct voices in the world, voiced 3 characters each. Yeah. They were the whole freaking town. And that just bugged me. That drove me nuts, and it seemed like a cheap shortcut. Let's just use these 2 for 6 voices. Yeah. And everybody else has a different voice, but the dad and the freaking neighbor mayor, it's half the time they sound like the exact same person. Yeah. I didn't like that.
No, I was not.
Did you guys notice that when you were watching? Yes. Did it stick out to you? Because it stuck out to me like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it stuck out to me. And I didn't know that he was in the movie whenever I first started to watch it. So I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. And it was, oh, cool. Wait a second.
Right.
I didn't know that he was the mayor.
Really?
Yeah.
Just his voice.
I thought it was like Al Franken doing a really weird thing with his voice.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess because I've been exposed to so much Martin Short material, I recognize his voice, and to me, it jumped out at me, and it bugged me the whole time. And Catherine O'Hara, she sounds basically the same no matter what she's doing, because she played the mom and the creepy little girl with the cat. And it's okay.
Oh,
she was probably one of my favorite characters.
Oh, I love that character.
And reading people's future or whatever, or their,
Yeah, predicting something big would happen based on the shape of her cat's poo. If it was in the initial, or the shape of your first initial, then something was going to happen.
Loved it.
And she keeps showing him that V-shaped poo.
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
You
can have it. It's oh my God, blink, please.
It's amazing. See, and that brings us back to the characters. I love the characters in this because, they're just playing on classic, iconic monsters from literature and from film. And I think it's this fascinating little universe that they created where all the kids in this one class are basically iconic monsters, but they're not. It's not on the nose like Hotel Transylvania, where it's not actually, oh, you're a Frankenstein's monster and you're a Dracula and you're a mummy. They're just kind of like those characters, and I liked that. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. So it kind of puts you in that mind space right off the bat when you get there. And I loved it. My favorite, ironically, was Nassor, I think is how you say his name, the Frankenstein's monster, tall, skinny one who was like, it's the windmill,
Yeah.
you know, that which was the third character that Martin Short did. I loved his character.
Yeah.
I like Toshiaki. I thought he was really cool. And then Igor was really cool too. So I don't know. I liked all those kids.
You mean Edgar?
Yeah. It was Edgar Gore. So it's initial E Gore. And I like how they all were kind of, most of them were friends, but some of them were also like frenemies almost. And there was that competition around the science competition. And once they learn of this crazy, insane experiment that Victor pulled off, then they all want to like best it. And so they all go out into the pet cemetery and dig up their old pets, which is kind of a funny concept. Kind of sad too. Sorry, Corey. But that pet cemetery, I freaking love that pet cemetery where they go in and there's crypts and there's tombs and there's all kinds of headstones for various pets. Really fantastic work.
That giant one.
Yeah,
for
like
his
a
gerbil?
mausoleum for his gerbil.
And Colossus.
So good. Rise, Colossus.
So I want to talk about an inconsistency from going off what you just said.
Sure.
So apparently, according to his parents, he has no friends. He spends all of his time with his dog, but yet everybody knows his dog's name.
Well,
Yeah,
everyone was there when the dog died, though.
I know. No, I'm not talking about that. I get everybody knows that part, but during the baseball game, when he goes to play baseball, everybody knows the dog's name.
Oh.
I think, to me, it's because this is a very small town. That's the impression that I get. They're a small town. Everybody knows everybody. They all basically live in the same neighborhood on relatively the same street. I just get that that's what it reads to me. But yeah, you're right. Like, if he's that much of a shut-in.
Exactly. How
I
come
wouldn't necessarily
Toshiaki's
know.
like, go to catch Sparky? And I'm like, how do you know the dog's name? And then Elsa comes in. She's like, hey, Sparky. I'm like, how do you know the dog's name? I get that you kind of live next to him, but how do you know the dog's name? You never talk to this kid.
Right.
He's a weirdo.
He's a weirdie.
Like, everybody knows this stupid dog's name. And I'm like,
Yeah, I think it's just a
everybody knows
small
this dog's
town.
name.
That's what I think. You grew up in a small town. Like, did most of the people in your neighborhood know your dog's name?
No.
No?
I lived in the country.
Oh, you didn't have, like, next-door neighbors, right? It was, like, space?
I kind of did.
Well, did you live on land? Like, was there, like...
I mean, we kind of lived,
You
but
say the country, and I picture you in a farmhouse with, like,
no.
400 acres, and your
No.
next-door neighbor is half a mile away.
There's people that live in the country that aren't, like, in farms and have
Okay.
cows and horses.
I've never been to
Way to portray the
your-
stereotype
No,
of Oklahomans, Gavin.
I'm telling you, that's the picture that hits my mind, and I've never been to your homestead, so I don't know what the old neighborhood
No, I
looks
mean, like,
like.
we had neighbors, but I mean, never really talked to them.
Yeah. Did they have kids your age?
No.
Oh, see, I think that's the difference. Maybe if your neighbors had kids your age, they might have known your dog's name. I mean, I know that in the neighborhood I grew up in, even the kids I didn't play with, I knew who their dogs were just because they were in the neighborhood and you heard about them. And, you know,
Same.
I don't know. That wasn't as much of a stretch for me. But this is more of a in the city kind of town and less of a country town. So maybe there's the difference. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that I want to go back to that pet cemetery. That might be my favorite set in the whole place. I love everything about it. They just created this amazing ambiance out there where it's like eternal fog, and the lighting was so dramatic, and you just got this sense of history.
Yeah.
You know, it's like. I mean, I don't know. Do things like that exist in real life? Like, are there actual pet cemeteries? I know
I'm not
Stephen King
sure.
wrote a book, and I know that
I
in front of the Haunted
guess
Mansion at Disneyland, there's
somewhere.
a pet cemetery. But like,
maybe somewhere there is, but I don't really know. I don't think it's a thing.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a thing. Never being a pet person, I didn't know. So I just think that's a crazy awesome set that they built, and I loved everything about it. Kind of a throwback to Nightmare with all the scenes in the graveyard, and I just really liked that. Interestingly enough, when I was at Disneyland in 2012, when this movie came out, they had a bunch of the sets and models on display there, so I got to see them in person. And surprisingly, these sets and models are actually pretty big. And I was reading a little bit about that, and they had to because they wanted Sparky to be dog size in relation to the characters, typically when they do a humanoid character, it's in a general range, of about half a foot to maybe 8 or 9 inches is all. And then, everything else is scaled to that. But because they wanted to have Sparky have so much range of movement and so much detail, they had to make him a little bigger and then make the humans a little bigger too. So it was a much bigger physical production than a lot of other stop motion pieces. They actually had 3 huge sound stages to house all the sets for the production of this movie. And I think they said they broke each one up into like 300 parts so that they could, film little pieces of it. Because you don't have to have like everything in camera all at once. With stop motion, you can break it up into littler sets and film, parts of it along the way. But having seen a lot of the sets, like they had the classroom set and they had the teacher, and I think they had Edgar, Sparky, and maybe like a couple of the kids. It's been 5 years. I can't remember exactly who was there, but seeing them up close, I mean, the detail on them is incredible. Like, it's really good. And that classroom was just so well designed, and everything in it. I watch a lot of these movies now and I assume, oh, well, some of these details are probably CG. They're probably just, animated in later or whatever. No, everything in that classroom was a physical object and cool. Physically designed. And I thought that was really cool. I really appreciated the depth of detail in this film. And, excuse me. And I think that continues through all the sets, all the characters. And I just, artistically and stylistically, man, I really liked this movie. Interestingly enough, though, when I saw it in the theater the first time, I came away not liking it. Because I had a different idea of what it was going to be in my head, I guess. And it wasn't until I watched it again that I began to really appreciate it. And I think it was after I got to see all those sets in person as well that I began to appreciate that. But I think part of my impressions of what the film was going to be was because I have watched and am aware of the original short special Frankenweenie from 1984 that this was based off of. Have either of you guys seen that original film?
No, I didn't know it was a thing until you told me a couple days ago.
Yeah, so it's a live action film, but it's also in black and white. The kid that plays Victor is the boy who's reading the book in The Neverending Story.
Oh, okay.
So he's the main character. It's really good. It's totally worth watching. I mean, it's the same storyline. It's the same, basic mimicking of the Frankenstein story. So it ends in a windmill with a fire just like this, except it's on a miniature golf course where there's often a windmill hole. It's worth watching. I definitely, they're very similar, like a lot of similarities. Just this was Tim Burton's chance to kind of flesh out that story, make it full length. So I think it's maybe like a half an hour special is what it was. I think it was just on TV. But on the Frankenweenie Blu-ray or DVD, it's in the extras. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, so if you rented it or if you own it, you can see it.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was cool. So anyway, that kind of drove a lot of my expectations the first time I saw it. But then when I rewatched it, knowing what it was, then I was like, oh, okay, I can totally get into the idea of it. The humor of it. I thought the humor was pretty good, but it was really kind of a low-key humor. Like, did you guys ever find yourself chuckling or laughing at this movie?
Nope. Occasionally, yeah.
I thought there were some funny moments, but it was a really low-key, kind of chilled-out kind of humor, which was kind of weird for animated stuff. I mean, I guess the same holds true of, like, Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas and, his other stop-motion pieces, Tim Burton, that is. So that makes sense. I guess in animation in general, at least domestic animation, I expect to laugh a little more. But I don't know. I liked a lot of the cleverness of this movie. I thought it had plenty of material to, respond to. And I don't know. I like this movie, I think, more every time I watch it. I really dig it. Of course, I don't have to go through the trauma like you do every time.
Trauma.
That's hilarious. Well, any other comments, reactions?
Nope.
I think I'm good.
All right. We want to rate it?
Good.
For me, out of 5 Jiminy Crickets, this one gets a solid 4. I definitely consider it rewatchable and just a beautiful, wonderful film.
Mm-hmm. I will give it a 2.5 Durgans.
2.5. I think that's a little low, but okay.
Yeah, but
Of the Tim Burton things that we've reviewed on this show, I liked this one the best, so that's why it gets a 2.
Nice. Not a Tim Burton fan.
Nope.
Are there any Tim Burton movies you like, even in the live action?
I couldn't tell you what's a Tim Burton movie.
anything with Johnny Depp in it.
Pirates?
Not anything. No. Did you like Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Nope.
Did you like Edward Scissorhands?
Never saw it.
Okay. What about Planet of the Apes, the remake?
Which one? The one with
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen that one all the way
Okay.
through.
I couldn't stand that one.
Really?
No,
I thought it was pretty
did not
good.
like that one at
I
all.
was one of the only ones, though.
Yeah. Yep. Oh no, my grandmother liked it.
Oh, yeah? Me and your grandma should hang out.
She likes Marky Mark.
Nice. He's likable. I like him.
Isn't
James
William
and the Giant Peach.
Isn't William Dafoe in that movie? Isn't William Dafoe like one of the
I'm not sure.
orangutans
I think
or
so.
something?
I think so, yeah.
James and the Giant Peach.
Mhm.
I mean, James and the Giant Peach was okay.
I
I like James
High
and the Giant
praise.
Peach better than any of the other.
It has colors.
Yeah,
I used to love.
and
it
the
when I was a
characters
kid.
don't look
Yeah.
atrocious. So
See, I think they look just as Tim Burton-y as anything.
I mean, just, they have long, spindly legs and stuff.
Mhm.
But I also haven't seen that movie in probably 15 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one since it came out in theaters. That was in the 90s. So I should rewatch that one.
There you go.
It's a good one to watch in October, too.
Maybe next
Yeah.
year.
So, well, I think that wraps up our discussion on Frankenweenie. So, your roommate Brady got that new South Park video
South
game.
Park, the
Yeah.
fractured butthole.
That's right.
It is
And
amazing.
I was watching him play it the other day. That's a fantastically produced game.
Yeah,
Like
it
it
looks just
looks
like,
like
an episode.
you're playing an episode of the show. Have you played it at all?
I know, I've watched him play.
You've watched it, and
Yes.
and have you just only watched it,
No,
or have
I
you played
bought
it?
it.
You did.
Of course.
So what? Tell us a little bit about it then. Tell us about the gameplay and kind of the concept behind it.
The concept behind it is you're the new kid in town, and you are joining the kids that they're playing superheroes.
Okay.
And so you're trying to. The Cartman has his group of friends, and then there's another group of friends. Then he's trying to do a Marvel cinematic universe.
Okay.
He calls Netflix, saying Netflix is buying every single idea ever. It's fine. We can make this into a show. And then there's a split. So they're like, oh, we're doing Civil War right now. We're starting off with Civil War, and so there's just little things like that just constantly throughout
Nice.
the movie.
So
Professor,
it still has all the topical references, just like
yes.
the show. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
and they still have the little kid aspect in it. So like if you're fighting in the middle of the street, occasionally in combat,
That was
they'll
good.
be like car.
Oh,
And they walk to the side real
nice.
quick. A car drives by. He's like, get out of the road.
That's
And-
amazing.
Some of the bad guys will put red Legos over pathways, and like it's lava, you can't pass it. So you have to do stuff to get rid of the lava.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Is it? I assume it's going to be explicit, like the show.
Yes,
Very
Okay.
much so.
Okay.
More so.
That's-
in some senses.
That's so cool, though.
Uh,
I love that they did that.
one thing that Trey Parker and Matt Stone were saying whenever they did that first game, the Stick of Truth,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't really sure. Like in the show, they never had to explain this is how you get from the school to Wendy's house.
Mm-hmm.
But in the game, you have to have a pathway. So like we never actually thought of what South Park, the town, looked like.
Oh yeah, the layout of the town.
Yeah.
You never really see it that
Yeah.
much.
So they were
Makes
like, that was
sense.
totally
They
different
just
for
went
us.
"Ba-da-down-da-down," and they were there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
they actually have a layout for the town now, or
Huh.
they did in Stick of Truth, and they expanded on it for this one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know that they had done other South Park games. This is the first one I became aware of.
Yep.
I think it was when I came over on Wednesday for our meeting. I walked in and Brady was playing it, and I was like, "What are you?" Because I thought he was watching it,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I see the controller in his hand, and things not quite right are happening. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Because it looks like the show.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's really really impressive to me, and the characters move just like they do on the show, and I don't know, I think it's a fascinating concept, and I mean, I could see myself playing it. It looks fun.
The best part about it, which surprised me a lot, is it's a very solid RPG game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect that at all.
Oh, he showed me the Instagram-like feature.
Yes.
What's it called?
Coonstagram. Because
so
Cartman is a raccoon for a superhero.
Right. That's awesome. So you can take selfies with characters in it, and characters in the game can follow
hashtags
you.
On there.
Yeah, it puts funny hashtags on it. Man, that game seems like it's really involved. Like the detail they put into the writing behind it and the concept just seems amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I haven't even played it. I've only looked at it for a few minutes, but I totally recommend that game. It looks amazing.
It's hilarious.
That's cool. Are there other animated shows that they've made video games for? I know they've done a lot of the Disney movies as video games, which to varying success.
And there's been a couple Family Guy ones.
Oh, really? I know they did some Simpsons games too.
Yeah, but nothing that looks exactly like the TV show.
Yeah,
right. This is
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the pinnacle of animated TV shows being put into a video game.
What have these games been successful? Like,
yes.
Do you see it
the Stick of
continuing
Truth,
on?
The first one, the Stick of Truth, was hugely successful.
Really?
And again, it came to a surprise to many gamers because they thought, "Oh, this is going to be terrible." But
right.
No, it was,
well, because they had done a previous South Park one like
games,
5 years earlier, and it was just
not
bad.
Good.
But Trey Parker and Matt Stone were never involved with that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
They took control of it
because it was like a racing game. And it was weird.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
So no,
I agree.
Once they got involved and made it their game, it blew everybody out of the water.
That's cool. I think there's so much potential there. Like, if you can get the conceptual stuff like they've done and get the actual feel and essence of the show into the game like they clearly did on this, I mean, I don't see why other franchises couldn't do that successfully as well. I wonder if it'll encourage other studios to team up with game makers and do more.
I hope it does.
That's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
I remember playing some of those old Disney Nintendo games back in the day, like Aladdin, which was really cool. Did you ever play that one?
No, I did not.
Did you play Aladdin?
I didn't play Aladdin. I played Lion King.
Lion King's the hardest game ever made.
Exactly.
Basically, you can't beat it.
There's no possible way that you can get past those stupid hippos. It's impossible.
The hippos are hard. Even the freaking little things in that are hard, like the little lizards and stuff. When you're a cub, like, come on, man, Simba would just jump over this. Man, that game was frustrating as heck. Aladdin was awesome though, because when you'd go into the genie's lamp, it was like this crazy, zany, awesome world. Nice. It was very cool. But yeah, I didn't realize that TV shows were. I guess I was aware of the Simpsons ones, but I mean, Simpsons is kind of on its own icon level.
Yeah.
But man, I'm just impressed by this game. It was really cool. So yeah.
And I love how they kept with their play on words kind of in the title.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was always good.
Yeah. It's WHOLE.
Yep. Yeah. But there was one thing whenever they first created the game, in the title it was regular BUTTHOLE. And they were like his producers or whatever were saying like, we can't have this on the shelves. Like they won't sell it at Walmart.
Oh.
And he was like,
even with like a cover over it? Huh.
So he was like, I'm going to have butthole in the title somewhere. So he's saying he went to his desk and sat for 3 hours thinking of all these different phrases on how to have that word in there. So he's like, the fractured butthole. I got it. All right.
That's hilarious.
And it fits.
Yeah.
It makes it sound really cool.
Yeah. I like it.
All right, you ready to wrap this up?
I think so.
Yep.
All right. Gavin, whatever was that.
On Instagram and Twitter at Gavin Audison Art, on the web at GavinAudisonArt.com.
Corey.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Majestic Corey.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh L. Kane. You can find the podcast on Instagram at Animation Station Podcast.
On Twitter at Animate Podcast.
You can find us on Facebook at Animation Station Podcast.
You can also find us on our website, animationstationpodcast.com.
You can also find us on Tumblr at Animation Station Podcast. You can find all of our episodes on iTunes and Stitcher, and you can also go to the podcast tab of our website.
And don't forget to leave us a review, and don't forget about the contest.
Yeah,
as well.
We have a contest.
Leave us an iTunes review. Much will be given.
Yeah, we'll be posting some stuff later on this week. regarding the contest. We'll post our first pick of Phase 1 of the contest. We're going to marvel at Phase 1 of the contest, but you won't be able to see Phase 2 and 3 until you hit Phase 1.
Right.
So once we get those first 25 reviews, then Phase 2 will unlock.
Yes.
And then Phase 3.
So tell all your friends. If you want this to happen, tell all your friends.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have 25
I think we
listeners plus friends.
I think we have like 24 listeners.
So if only one of them has
if
a
only
friend.
one more person subscribes.
Yes. Nice.
Corey, you and I will be at Wizard World Comic-Con this weekend.
Next weekend. This weekend.
This weekend.
Yep.
Come on,
Yeah.
Corey. Stick with the
Pay
timeline.
Yeah. We'll be at Wizard World, so come say hi.
Yeah. If you see
We'll
us there.
have buttons and cards and swag for you.
What's the end swag, if I may ask?
Well, Gavin's
To
going
put
to
you
be
on the spot?
Well, Gavin's going to be doing some sketches, and
Is
we're
that
going
how
to
it's
steal
gonna
a bunch
work?
of them.
Okay.
Basically, I'm just going to go raid his house and just like grab a bunch of
Raid
sketch
my
cards.
inventory. Okay.
Yeah,
This is Gavin's paintbrush.
yeah. Like, you want Gavin's paintbrush?
And
It's
they're like-
signed
Gavin who?
DeGraw.
Oh,
They'll be like, oh my gosh, I want a paintbrush.
I'll take it. I didn't even know he painted.
There you go. Yep.
Amazing.
All right. So, anybody have anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. It's for the Animation Station podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Gavin.
I'm Corey.
Bye bye, little butterfly.
Made you look.
Thank you for listening to the Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Animate Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes and join the conversation at SecretSuperheroClub.com, where you can connect with our podcast friends, Cloud City Cast, Getting Into Comics, and Shaun of the Gathering.